Forget it. You break a dancer?
No.
You don't break a dancer?
I tried when I was in college
Yeah.
for like 1 year ish. I think that was probably the last year of college. It was super fun. I enjoyed it, and like the people, like it's such a nice. It was such a nice group of people, because it's all like the entire thing like about breakdancing and like a lot of like any art form, I guess, is that you have to keep motivation up, and so you have to kind of like, even if they suck, you just have to celebrate all the little wins, right?
Yeah.
And so what they were really good about was like they were really good about finding like all the little things and just making people feel good no matter what level you were at.
Uh-huh.
So it was like a really nice kind of place to just hang out and just like do stuff, because you felt good about yourself after every single time you went.
I think this is a lot of like creatives in general, but dancers especially.
Mm.
I feel like they just the vibe is crazy. Like the I have a couple of videos, dance videos,
Yeah.
and I just fucking love them. I watch them over and over again. Not mine, obviously. Yeah, not mine,
Of
right?
just people.
Yeah, but man, like, but the vibe on these are just fucking insane. I love it. And I'm like, well, why are these guys happy all the time?
I mean, you're moving your body around, you gotta feel good, right?
Yeah.
But the other side of it though is like, I feel like after you get to a certain point, you just become super critical of yourself,
Yeah.
and or like you kind of have to be to get to the next level, right?
But
And
that's
so
with everything, though.
that is true, yeah. So there is a turning point.
Doing photography, for example, or like videography, like
Everything sucks.
first you think, fuck it, I'm amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm killing this.
So good.
And then once you start to really know what you're doing and like, man, I suck. Why,
Yep.
why isn't this working?
So no,
Yeah.
it's like, I guess it's not just creative stuff. It's literally anything. It can be business. It can be personal life. It can be uh, creative stuff. Anything.
And that's
like
what
that.
they say, like little knowledge is dangerous
Yep.
because you think you know, but you don't. You don't really.
What is that? It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever, where I think that's I don't know. There's a bunch of them, but I think it's Dunning-Kruger effect, where you think you know, so you think you're amazing, and then at some point you realize you figure out all the stuff you don't know. It's just like, oh, wait a second,
Yeah.
everything's terrible again.
And then it starts go back again up
Yeah,
when you
so
actually.
it's a roller coaster. It's a bunch of
Yeah.
waves.
Yeah.
All right, this is gonna come soon, or we're gonna have to get it soon. What else you want to talk about? This coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Are you a
Coffee.
coffee head?
Um,
Is that a word?
I don't know, but the simple answer is no, as in that like up until recently, I didn't really drink much coffee because coffee generally makes me super sleepy. But I like espresso. I like espresso based stuff, and so but since
Coffee makes you sleepy.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on,
yeah.
like rewind that. What?
I think it's the caffeine. It's like so what I learned like a few years back when I was doing some video with like matcha type of stuff is that there's different kinds of caffeine apparently, or like depending on where it comes from, like your body reacts differently to it.
Oh.
And so for me, green tea is usually okay. Like caffeine from green tea is usually okay. What I found recently is that black tea is not as great for me.
Okay.
And then cheaper coffee at like the Dotoro or like all these other like chains
Yeah.
is not good. Espresso is okay. More of like the hand selected kind of coffees from very like niche coffee shops are usually okay for me.
Like specialty coffee
Yeah, yeah,
places.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep it here.
So yeah, it gets but I like lattes. I've been drinking since starting my new job. I've been drinking a lot more coffee just because there's like in the place that we work at, there's like a pop-up coffee shop that comes in every once in a while.
Oh,
And
okay.
just kind of nice to talk to the guy and just
Nice.
just do whatever.
I don't know. I think I can't function until I have my coffee. Like I really like my day doesn't start literally, like there's a meme, right? Like
Yeah.
my day doesn't start until I have my coffee or something like that. And that's for me really, like I go to work and I tried not to drink coffee, and I just felt like I'm not working. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I'm not doing anything. Then I have my coffee and I'm like, like it's like, if do you see these movie scenes, like when when
It's all gray and
it's all gray and shit, and then like colors pop up.
Yep.
Like that's exactly what happens.
that's terrible kind of.
That's addiction.
That is addiction.
That is
That is
addiction.
addiction.
It is a drug.
It is.
It is a
Caffeine is
drug. Yeah.
yeah.
Caffeine is a drug.
It's definitely. I don't know. That's one of the things that I'm kind of like afraid of. Like right now, I don't drink coffee because I'm like I need to feel awake,
Yeah.
or like I don't. Same thing with tea. I just like warm drinks.
Oh yeah.
So I'll drink warm drinks even in the summer sometimes, just because I like I'll turn on the AC and then drink warm drinks because I like warm drinks. But
I don't particularly enjoy warm drinks. That's why I have my lattes always on like iced lattes. But now since it's very cold, I just I just went with this one. But yeah. So, but like you said, like specialty coffee places, like you enjoy the coffee over there more than just chain.
yeah, it's.
Whatever's-
I think some of it is a lot of those places. If you talk to the shopkeeper or like the barista, they're much more insightful. Like they can actually tell you. So when we were ordering this, like you were saying, you were just taking a bunch of pictures of the stupid trains.
Fuck it. Really?
It is what it is. Well, you were taking pictures of the menu,
Yeah.
and like they have little blurbs about like where's the coffee, like where the beans from, like what kind of flavor does it have, like what
Yeah.
inspires it, right?
Yeah.
And for me, if I read it, I'm just like whatever. But it's nice to kind of hear from the people that are like roasting it or they're making the coffee of like what do you like, right? And it's like okay, I've had this before. What do you think? And like kind of having that dialogue is really nice.
Yeah.
Because especially in Japan or in Tokyo specifically, like there's not a lot of conversation with like the customer and like the store people, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like at these types of cafes, or in my case, like the pop-up coffee shop that comes to my workplace,
Yeah.
they're more open to that kind of conversation. And so I think some of it is like, oh, the coffee, but other part of it's just I just like to talk to the people about it.
Man, I remember first time I went to the States. It was in Santa Clara, and I went to the supermarkets to buy stuff, and then the clerk just started having a conversation with me, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, what? We don't do this in Japan, you know? So yeah, it was kind of interesting for me. It's a lot more friendlier over there, like let's say. But again, coffee shops have the same vibe
Right.
that you were just saying.
Yep.
By the way, today we're at Latest, I guess.
Latest.
That's what they wanna go for, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. This is a hazelnut latte, I think. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's very
And-
hazelnutty, not burnt.
And I like that it's not overly far from stations. Like sometimes you
Yep.
just find these good coffee shops, but they're a bit further, you know. So access to here is not so bad at all.
It's not bad. And it's like what's nice about like this area in particular. So this right now we're in what is this? It's
Asakusa, like
but it's
between Asakusa and Oshiage.
yeah, it's between Asakusa and Skytree, right? So there's
Yeah.
this walkway is called something. I can't remember what it's called. exactly.
Komebashi Pier.
No, well that's that. Oh,
That's-
it's like
that's that,
it's like it has a Mizumachi or something. It has
Oh
a
yeah, it is.
Right?
It's called
Yeah.
like a Mizumachi.
Mizumachi. It's like they built this walkway like 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe. And what's nice about this is like if you're just visiting or if you're touring, right? And you're going to Asakusa and you want to go to Skytree or vice versa, like this is just a nice middle ground where you're traveling across. It's like, oh, I want to take a little pit stop, get some coffee,
Yeah.
hang out. If you have kids, it's like super kid friendly here.
Yeah.
I think it's friendly for pets as well in some of these buildings. So
Maybe. I have no idea. Do you have any pets here?
no, I want a
No.
pet. I want a dog.
I want a dog. I want a dog or a cat. I don't care. Like
You had a cat.
I had a cat and I gave it away because of my asshole neighbor.
I mean, you weren't supposed to have the cat.
And I wasn't supposed to
It
have
wasn't
it.
really your
It
cat.
wasn't really my cat. But I gave it away.
How's the cat doing now? Is it still kicking?
Man, that guy is living the best life that he has now. Like, he is just chilling
That's good.
and almost kind of completely forgot about me. Like, I don't know, he acts like he doesn't
That's
know
cats,
me
man.
anymore. Like, that's cats. But I stayed at my friend's place for a couple of days. I spent the night once, and then, because I had some work in Yokosuka. And my friend lives in Kawasaki.
This is the one
close-
that has the cat now.
that has the
Yeah.
cat, right? So I was like, I don't want to go back all the way here and just, to Chiba and just keep
Right.
going for it. So can I stay at your place? And he said, it's fine. So I stayed there. And then the next day, because he kind of got familiar back, like he remembered me or whatever, like I was just sitting by myself and he just came and, sat on my lap. So
How is it? It's a burger.
burger. Tastes okay. Not the best, but okay. Not bad. Definitely not bad at all.
Burger's a burger. As long as it's not bad, it's fine.
Right? I mean, you cannot fuck up a burger.
That's arguable.
You have to really be bad in order to fuck up a burger. That's what I'm saying. How would you fuck up a burger, really? It's meat and some vegetables.
I mean, like, you can burn it. But apart from that, though, like, if you try to experiment with, like, seasoning or flavoring, I guess.
But I wouldn't recommend, like, this restaurant for its burger. I have a few shops in Tokyo that I would recommend because they have, like, awesome burgers.
Right, if you're going for burgers,
Yeah.
it's not really on your list. But I feel like if you're stopping by and just want to eat something here, it's not a bad option.
It works out. I would recommend this coffee. This cafe.
good, it's
this
good, yeah.
Coffee shop, right? But yeah.
R6 has a 30-minute time limit, right? Or no? No?
I fucking hate it.
It's the worst.
Atmos Ninja. Then if you're recording on the Atmos Ninja, you don't really have to worry about that. But it's just like adding things up to the setup, which
Right.
kind of. I use it if I really need the best quality, because the Kodak in it was fucking amazing. Have you edited some footage with Atomos Ninja, like taken?
Not from the R6.
Dude, it's fucking
Yeah, not from the
amazing.
R6. I used the Atomos when we were shooting for, we shot a green screen background thing for YouTube. When YouTube was making an announcement for YouTube Shorts, essentially they asked different people they asked a bunch of like agencies to find creators that could make the video for them. And I don't remember how exactly I ended up getting that job, but the YouTube Shorts announcement in Japan, I was able to shoot. I didn't edit it because they did all the editing in-house to make sure that it was consistent across all the different countries.
So they just wanted to. They just asked you
Just
to
shoot it, yeah. But it was, they asked us to, I got asked to shoot it. I got asked to find people to cast in it, kind of shrink that list down, shoot it, and then also just direct everything on the spot and just basically do everything except like the final say, I guess. And it was interesting because for that shoot I had to like bring in the YouTube team via Zoom call and then connect the camera to the Zoom call so that they can see everything live as we were shooting it.
Oh.
And what was really good is Yusuke, the guy who ended up being the talent for us. Like he was absolutely amazing. He's a YouTuber himself, and so he's just super natural on camera, and he's really good at speaking. And so he was able to get through really quick. And so the people that were from YouTube that were watching, they're like, "Do you have any suggestions?" And like, no. So it ended up being like the setup took forever. And because of traffic, so I was planning to get there like 2-3 hours early. I got there I think,
Right
at
on
the
time.
time we were supposed to start. So I ended up getting there like 3 hours later than what I was planning on doing.
Why?
Because of traffic. Because I had
Where were you shooting?
in Tokyo. It was like in a studio somewhere in Tokyo, and I had to go from my place, where if I took a train, it's like, what, like 45 minutes maybe? But by car, it took like 3 hours. 3 hours.
You had to take the car?
I had so much, we had so much stuff.
Oh.
So, took forever to get there. We ended up getting there. Set everything up. It took us longer to set up than the actual shoot itself, just because YouTube is so good. But yeah, and then I think parking ended up costing like 5,000, 6,000 yen for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then the tolls ended up costing another like 4,000, 5,000 yen. It's just the amount of just like stuff, just not even like the shoot itself, just to pay for everything here and there and back was just not fun.
No.
Right. But I bring that up because for that shoot we used the Atomos Ninja,
Yeah, it was mentioned.
and it was really nice. It's just too much stuff,
Why?
and like I don't like that it's just the battery. The battery's all proprietary. The hard drive's proprietary. Everything has to be its own set, and I was glad I was able to use it, because I was wondering, like, is this something I want? And after using it, I was like, probably not for normal day-to-day
I
stuff.
don't regret buying it,
Well,
but I realized that I use it a lot less often than I thought I would be. Just because it's
big.
it's big, like, you know, carrying it around. I'm thinking of doing a documentary. I've started it, you know, about me and my friends and gaming, and just basically fighting game community. And the videos that I'm going to be shooting, the interviews, I'm going to be using the Atomos for. Let me ask you this: in Japan, don't you think like stuff are like especially since the apartments are small, right? Things just kind of. I'm not a hoarder, right? But it looks like I am.
Yep.
Just because everything is just so cramped up. Like, you don't have space to keep things. And then I ended up like putting them this way, right? And then in couple of days, if you change a couple of things, and if you put a couple of things out of place, then it just looks messed up. Like everything just looks like you're living in a garbage. Like it's insane.
I know what you mean.
How do you deal with this?
So I have this one closet.
Yeah.
So in our apartment, we don't have a big apartment, but we have this one closet that is like awkwardly deep. Like it's normally like these closets, whatever, you open them up, it's maybe like an arm's length in or whatever, and you can just hang coats and whatnot. For whatever reason, this particular closet doesn't have like a bar, so you can't hang anything. But it's like 2 arms lengths deep in. Like I can fit like you, me, and probably like one other person could probably stand in it. I mean, we'd be like super close,
but it's still like
it's really deep, but it's kind of narrow. And so we originally were like, what the heck are we supposed to do with this closet? It's a nice space, but we're like, what are we supposed to do with it? And we split it up. So the one in our bedroom there's a similar one, but it has like shelving at the top, and it's nice. My girlfriend used that one, and then I was like, I'll use this one. And it's just wide enough to fit a shelf in, and push the shelf in deep, right? So it's like the shelf goes in against the wall. There's a little bit of space on the left side, and then there's like extra space in front of the shelf. And so I'm able to like organize all my camera stuff in the shelf, and then like my stands and tripods and whatnot on the left side where there's the gap, and then bags in the front, and it just all lines up really neatly in there. So when you open it, it's like stuff. It's just cluttered at this point, right? But it keeps it out of sight, so everything else looks really nice. But
which is important.
But the problem that we run into is all of my little stuff is kept in there, so it's not too bad. But my girlfriend, on the other hand, she has a lot of little stuff. Like all her makeup stuff, all her like brush accessories and all those things. and because she uses it so frequently, there's not like a good place to like put it and store it. And so that's just like everywhere. So it's every single morning. It's just me going out. She'll kind of clean it up, but for me, I just like push it all like one side. So it's like half our dining table is just filled with her boxes and stuff. And so she came home the other day because she was visiting her grandparents for New Year's, and she's like,
I need more space.
She's like, well, no. She was like, why does it feel so clean in here? Like when she walked in. I didn't say anything, and she's like, it was like when I went to visit. When she was saying, when I went to visit my grandparents, like her mom lived there, so I went into my mom's room, and it was so clean too. But when I was leaving, I noticed it was so messy, and then when I packed all my stuff up, it was clean again. And she's like, maybe it's me, and I'm just like,
yeah, probably.
Mark. So.
How do you compare, living space in here compared to, like, back home? Like, you're from New York, right?
Well, so I lived not New York City. So I lived in a bit north. So we had a lot of space. When I was going to university, I lived in like the dorms plus an apartment there. And even in like the dorm room that I lived in, we just happened to have the biggest space in all of campus. I just got lucky and placed there. It was more expensive than everything else, and I didn't care about that. And I didn't know about that at the time, but it was bigger than every single other room on campus. So I think my bedroom there
Hold on. What did you go for? What did you study?
Originally I went for computer science, graduated psychology.
Why would you go from computer science to psychology?
Because I didn't go to any of my classes for computer science. And then so I liked coding. I liked doing projects, but I hated going to class. And so I just didn't go to class.
But that's how you pass the program. That's how you
just do all the assignments, you're fine.
Really?
Well, what ended up happening was like a lot of the I like doing, but I don't like learning. I don't like being taught. I like learning. And the distinction there is like I don't like to sit in a classroom and have people tell me stuff. I just like to learn by doing. So what ended up happening was like I wasn't going to class. I was like, okay, maybe I should change something. After the first year, I started working at a summer camp. Hated it at first because I only got the job because I only applied for the job because I needed something to do with my summer. Hated kids, didn't want to work with kids, went there anyway. Ended up really enjoying it.
Okay.
And then after kind of rethinking things, it was like maybe I should do something more with people and like behavior as opposed to the coding stuff, just because like I clearly wasn't interested in classes, right? And so that's when for my second year, I started switching over psychology. A lot of rules and politics and whatnot. I didn't officially switch to psychology until right before I graduated, but I did graduate with a psychology degree.
What do you mean? Like,
so
aren't you supposed to, go to classes and stuff to graduate, or just like you take the tests and that's it?
Depends on the class.
So you did not attend any classes for, the IT program that you joined?
I went to maybe 10% of the classes, maybe 25%, 10 to 25%. Because a lot of them were assignment based, and some of them were they were tests. Like I had one math class where they had like pop quizzes. Essentially, you'd go. Sometimes there would be a test, sometimes there wouldn't be, and it would be random.
Okay.
Right, and the point of that was to make sure that people would like attend. Yeah. So, but for me, I was like, it was an 8 a.m. class. I'm not a morning person. And I'm just like, I don't feel like going today. So I just wouldn't go.
Dude, that's so American.
But,
like,
because there was,
like, I would be killed if I just said that, by the way.
so they, listen, it's the land of free. We have freedom to do whatever we want.
I know, but so
what do I end up
money, right? To be in that program.
Listen, I didn't think about any of that until like now.
Do you have student loans?
Yeah. So
see,
Right. So I'm regretting it. I'm not regretting not going to the class.
Yeah.
I'm not regretting
Graduating
anything.
with psychology
You know,
degree.
I'm not necessarily regretting college, but I wish I knew more about how money works at the time.
Right.
Um,
But let me ask you a question though. Software engineers, for example, now make a ton of money. Psychology graduates, on the other hand, like I don't think that there's a lot of money involved there.
no,
Did you think of this kind of aspects in
no, I
any
don't care.
shape or
I
form?
hate money. So like, I no,
No one hates money.
I hate money. Money sucks.
Dude, you hate it, but you want it though.
Not really. I only want it because people around me. No, I don't want it. I know that I need it,
Yeah,
but if I could just go without money, I would do that.
I know money sucks, but like it's important to keep in mind like why you're going to college for. Like, of course you're gonna. This is why like you should only go to college for something that you enjoy or something that you love. And you said that you enjoyed programming, right?
At the time, yeah.
Coding,
I still kind of do, yeah.
right? You still like. So didn't you think like it was worth it to put up with classes for 2-3 years and then?
No.
God damn, bro. Really? Okay.
So maybe this is just bias,
Uh-huh.
and maybe I'm the minority. But when we would ask, why do we have to go to college?
Mm-hmm.
When we were in high school,
Uh-huh.
the answer we got was because everybody does. And because if you don't go to college, you won't be able to find a job. And it was, well, does it matter what we go into? And the answer was no. You just have to graduate and have to have a degree.
Well, that is not like the first part was okay. Like, if you don't go to college, you won't have a job. It will be very difficult for you to find a job. That makes sense, right? But
I mean, so when we graduated, what we all learned was that's not true. In the US.
depend
In the
even
US.
in the US, bro. Like if like honestly, if you graduated from an IT with an IT degree, your chances of finding a job is much higher than you graduating from with like social studies in general, right?
Possibly.
That's just like
The other thing was,
demand of market demand, right?
so I graduated high school in 2009,
Uh-huh.
which is the Lehman shock time period.
The what?
Basically everything just died, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, like we didn't feel it. I didn't feel it because we didn't have any money anyway. So like,
Benefits
my-
of not having money, yeah.
I think my dad ended up getting laid off around that time.
Oh.
And so
What was he doing?
he worked. You know Kuroneko Yamato, the shipping
Yeah,
company.
yeah,
here?
I know
He worked for that company, except in the U.S.
Okay.
But so we were in a situation where like my family didn't really have. It was not a good time for my family financially. All my friends were like upper middle class plus. And so there's no middle ground. So for me, I just kind of lived with them because they lived a much better life. So I was there all the time, right? But like so so the way for our family, we don't think about money. We didn't talk about money because it was like a bad thing. Like it was just a point of stress. It wasn't anything fun for us. And then my friends, they don't talk about money because they have ample amounts of it. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I kind of sat in. And so I never thought about money. Never really, it wasn't anything that I really, worried about isn't the right word, but it wasn't anything that I really thought much about. When I was in college, the kids, so the summer camp that I ended up working at, I ended up working at the summer camp for like 7 summers. And they're the reason why I started working with kids and like kind of how and like the why I do things now is shaped a lot from that first summer working there. But that summer camp is a camp for underprivileged kids, meaning that almost all of the kids would attend the camp through government funding. And the camp was also a nonprofit, and it was basically run through donations and government funding.
I see.
But because of that, the kids that would come, parents are in jail, no parents, homeless, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
So a lot of kids that are just at disadvantage in life. So now, listening to the kid's story, none of them have money. They're all struggling. The parents are like struggling on all different kinds of levels. Like some of the stories, you have 5-year-old kids that would have to hold a handgun and hide behind the door whenever someone would ring the doorbell.
Why?
Because you never know who was coming at the door, if it was a friend or if it was someone else that's trying to take stuff from you. Because a lot of these parents were drug dealers. Or like they were dealing in drugs, whether it's for just to kind of medicate themselves because life sucked, or to make money, right? So these kids are like 5 to 13-year-olds, holding a gun, waiting behind a door, just in case anything went wrong, grabbing all the drugs, getting ready to flush it down the toilet in case it was the police, helping parents with needles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Like that's the environment that like
These kids grew up.
they grew up in. And so those are all the stories. And so I'm just like, well, they don't have money and like they're doing not great, but like they're just happy kids at this point, right? And so it's like, well, money, you don't need money in order to survive. Not having money sucks. Having money doesn't really change anything. You can have money, not have money, and still find happiness XYZ, or find terribleness ABC, right? And so for me, just kind of seeing that, and like all my like wealthy friends, I was just like, I just don't care about money. I don't like it. I don't care about it. I don't want it. If I could, I would live in a place that has no money.
We all would, man.
Right.
Like, yeah, but
that's not the world we live in. So
yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. You have to make money one way or the other. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter of the fact is the fact of the matter, like whatever,
yeah,
is you need money to actually not be happy, but not be sad.
no.
You know, but really, like,
What was it?
think of it
was it
this way.
Kanye that said it? Like,
What?
What is it? Money doesn't solve problems. It just means you have less problems or something like that.
Exactly, right? Like so the problem of spending the night hungry evaporates, right? Like that's just to put it mildly, right? My parents, we grew up. So my parents are both like my father's a dentist, my mother's a pediatrician, right? They went for masters. We went to Bulgaria, came back to Yemen. Didn't have anything. I remember some days, like it was pretty tough. Even though they're doctors, because it's like a third world country. You being a doctor doesn't mean anything. Like,
Right.
You're gonna struggle, right? And we were in a very bad shape. And my parents were very, very clear and honest with me. Like this is our financial situation. It sucks. When you grow the fuck up, you're gonna have to make sure that you get money. Obviously, things have gone a lot better since then, but they never let this. They never let me forget, and I always have this idea back in my head that, yeah, I need things that are fun. I need to, enjoy life, but I need to make money 1st like, in order to at least support my family, my wife, my kids, this kind of thing. And having a family also pushes you that way. Like,
That's
if
what
you have a
that's what-
family, you really have to go that.
and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't have family yet, but it's definitely shifted my mindset a lot more.
Right?
Like thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once your kids come,
That's it.
honestly, I have no idea. I wish that I would have that kind of brain or that kind of mentality that some people just leave their wife and kids and leave their kids at least and just go,
Do whatever.
like do whatever. Like you can't. Like they're your kids.
No.
and that's why like you always feel responsible for them, right? Like you want them to grow up well, you want them to be able to be well educated, to to stand on their own 2 feet, right? So yeah, money sucks, man. Like, but
Money
we
is the
need it.
worst. Money, I hate money,
I hate it too,
and nobody likes
but
money.
I want it. I want a
The
ton
only
of it.
people that like money are the people that have money.
No, the only people that say that really money don't matter and doesn't make me happy are people with money, with a lot of money. They're like, oh, money don't matter. Oh, it fucking does.
Money doesn't matter. One of my most memorable points at the camp. So we had
Yeah.
one of the directors. He wasn't a director at the time. I don't remember what his position was, but Udara Soiza is from Sri Lanka,
Uh-huh.
and he's Sri Lanka is a great country apparently, but it's also riddled with
Corruption.
corruption, politics-wise.
Like
Um,
third world countries are all like that.
So he worked a lot of like government jobs. So he's seen a lot of the corruption firsthand. He's a good guy, and he's been trying to like improve different situations.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, and this is 2010, so it's over 10 years ago at this point.
Uh-huh.
Like basically, he would come from Sri Lanka every summer just to work at this camp.
Uh-huh.
And he wouldn't really take money from it. Like the camp doesn't make him money. He just wanted to do it because it was something that he felt like his way of contributing back to some sort of society, right?
Okay.
So it was kind of like a charity work for him, and he was great. But what I remember, like,
So he comes every year from Sri Lanka just to
Yep. I don't know if-
volunteer at this.
yeah, I don't know if he still does that, but that's what he was doing at the time.
Okay.
During the training, the first time I went, we were on like it was like a team building exercise. We were on a mini hike in the woods area behind the camp, and like he dropped his camera in the stream because we were crossing a creek.
Oh, okay.
And I remember like him just being like, everyone was kind of like, oh, it's like, oh no, that sucks. It's like, are you okay? And he's like, no, it's fine. It's just money. And
Yeah, when you think of it, yeah, obviously.
and it's just like that's been a thing that has been like that moment. I forget everything. Like I don't remember anything. But that moment has been something that has been like in my mind since then.
Yeah.
And is a very big point to like why like I really respect him as an individual. But it's like when you think about everything, right? It's at the end of the day, it's just money, right?
There is a saying that we have. It's not a saying. It's like a common phrase that we use, especially when people have accidents back in Yemen, right? If an accident happened and everybody came out fine, we just go like it's just iron.
It's just what?
It's just iron. You know,
Okay.
the car is just iron. Like,
Right.
So it's
Just a thing.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like as long as you're fine or as long as nobody got hurt, then fuck it, basically. You know. I totally agree with you. Like when comparing, like for example, money with a human's life, like there isn't like there.
No, you can't compare them.
There's no
comparison.
comparison over
Yeah.
there, right?
So I don't know, but yeah, so that's kind of where I
Makes
sit
you
with it.
really wonder what humanity really is going through right now, and how many people are just being stumped to death by these big corporations.
Oh,
which
it's
is-
bad.
It's bad. It's
If
really
you-
bad.
If you look at Japan, my girlfriend hates when I bring this up because my girlfriend hates when I talk about Japan because I only say bad things about Japan. But so the question she asked me was like, is there a thing like Eon in the States? And Eon, if you, it's AEON, it's the big
the
purple
mall?
logo.
Yeah.
So the Eon has the mall, it has a bank, it has My Basket, the little supermarket, that's all Eon. There's a lot of things that are like subsidiaries or like
Of Eon, yeah.
whatever, small companies of Eon, right? Eon is like this mega corporation.
Yeah.
SoftBank is another mega corporation. You also have like on the
Mitsubishi. Like,
yeah, like and Mitsui, like the banks essentially.
yeah.
And basically, like if you look at a lot of companies, in Japan, they all go back to like a very select few.
Yeah.
And that kind of exists in the US, but not as much. Like, there's a lot of regulation so that there's like anti-monopoly laws in the US, right?
Yeah, and the mentality of the people is also different, isn't it? Like in Japan, I think the idea is graduate and find a job at a company,
big
at a
company,
big
yeah.
company, right? While in the United States, I think it's a lot more individualistic. Like people think of starting their own business, or even if they work for a company which you call 9 to 5, basically, then they're still thinking of doing their own thing. Like
Depends on the person, but yeah.
But like I feel like there are a lot of people that have this kind of mentality, right? Which does not allow for this endless stream of people who are just trying to join this company, right?
I mean, like, so some of that is the like the laws, and how the laws are shaped dictates how people act as well in Japan. So right now, the work that I'm doing right now is we're trying to make freelancing better in Japan. Like that's what our company's trying to do. The company I work for.
Okay.
One of the big hurdles is just regulation and like laws and like how the government supports people, where it is the government protects employees. The employee laws in Japan are actually really strong for employees. Even though there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of like harassment, there's a lot of bad things that companies do. All that is illegal. If you know the laws and you know what to do when you face something that is illegal, you have a ton of power in Japan as an employee. But there's no education on that. And so the companies take advantage of that and just basically bully their employees and things because they know that there won't be lawsuits because the people won't speak up. It's a very interesting kind of
To be
situation.
honest, the way that I see it too, Japanese people are not the kind of people that would speak up, even if they knew what to do.
But that's because that's how it's set. That's how the country is set up. That's how the culture is set up.
Basically, right? Yeah.
If you look at schools, a lot of them are tied financially to different companies. A lot of in one way or another. A lot of the top schools, they have, if you join their program early on, like so the top university has a high school, has an elementary school, has a preschool. If you join the preschool and you pay to play, you can go to that university basically. There is by merit as well, and then there's, I think it's less of a thing now, but it used to be much more of like companies will only hire from certain schools.
I never heard of this. Yeah, but yeah, maybe that's the thing.
So my girlfriend, when she was, because we started dating, her like basically her final year of college, and so she was telling me all about like the application process and whatnot. Yeah. She's like, I can't apply here because I didn't go to a school that they accept. Right? Whether that's true, like on paper, it's a hard requirement or not, it doesn't matter because that's what she thinks.
It's a Japanese thing. Right? It's like unwritten rules.
Right.
You don't have. It doesn't have to be written. Like.
And so what makes that interesting is, if you find this money trail, and if you look at everything, you aggregate all the data. Like I'm curious how that works out, of like how many people are just make their way to these XYZ top companies through essentially paying their way through everything, right? Yeah, there are definitely other companies that you can be whatever contributing member and somewhat. The whole system, the whole employment system is broken. It's basically what I thought before joining the current company, and after joining the current company and like seeing a little bit more, it's just like, oh, it's definitely broken. And
I'm not gonna mention any names, but I have not a friend, like a few friends that have been not just harassed but freaking bullied in their jobs, and they try to go through the legal system, and one of them actually consulted a lawyer, a big lawyer too. And then he told them, like, see, the bottom line is this. You could fight this and it's going to be a very lengthy process, but in the end, you're not going to win it. It's better to just leave. And that's what he did.
Yep.
He ended up, because honestly, like, generally speaking, you don't want to be in a place that you're just fighting just to, for this 9 to 5 day to end, right? And that's what he did. And honestly, I don't know, but like you said, like, it's broken. The system is really broken.
It's probably like that everywhere, but the grass is always green on the other side. So you see all the bad things the more longer you are in one place. I don't remember where that conversation started.
We were talking
about the big companies that just control everything.
Yeah.
Though. Just to kind of put a stop in all that, like companies essentially. Rules and regulations are dictated by the people with money, because the people with money are the ones that ultimately have power, and all the people at the bottom are the ones that pay for it. And basically, the way it works in Japan and probably everywhere else is that as long as the bottom level people are content, everything else works in order. I haven't done like my own research. It was basically just I was talking to a couple VCs. Yeah, well, it's people in the investment like industry essentially, right? And so it's based on their talk. It's nothing concrete, but it also kind of coincides with a lot of other conversation that I've had elsewhere. So the way real estate works in Tokyo, at least, is you can't build an adult. There are certain categories of buildings, or like businesses, right? Like schools is one, hospitals are one, cafes, restaurants, whatever. And then you have the ones that are in the category of like adult type of stuff. And so a lot of the red light district things, right?
Yeah.
That stuff can't be built within a certain radius of schools and hospitals. Like that's like a
rule.
Yeah, I don't remember what the infrastructure, whatever it's called, but it's one of the rules in terms of like building codes.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. It's like bars and whatnot, and like on that side also aren't allowed to be built next to schools and hospitals.
Have you heard the rule that people are not allowed to dance, like in clubs? Really?
No.
Like, you don't know? It's a thing. It's a rule.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of dumb rules.
It's funny.
Um,
What do you mean we can't dance? Like I remember, like it was funny to say, like it really was funny when I heard about this rule. But yeah, anyways.
So yeah, it's just but basically yeah. So you can't build certain things if these other things exist.
Yeah.
Right. The Kabukicho area and a couple others. The loophole is, it's not a loophole. It's just that it's a newer law. So the ones that are grandfathered in. They can just exist. So Kabukicho, what makes Kabukicho very special is that a lot of the buildings are incredibly valuable because if they sell, the same type of business can't be built there.
Oh.
So like if there is a girls' bar or something, right, in this one spot, if the landowner here sells this to a different company, they can't build another girls' bar here. They can rent out to a different girls' bar, but they can't build another building and then have that be a girls' bar thing anymore. Like the land is set up so that it can't be a new thing going on top of it.
Okay.
Right. That's my understanding, and that's what I was told by when I was looking for my previous apartment from the real estate people there.
Okay.
And
looking for a girls' bar?
No, it was just I was just asking a bunch of questions, and he was just telling me about like different building codes and things
rules.
like that.
Yeah.
There's other building codes, like you can't build above a certain height within a certain area.
Yeah, but
right?
that's like
that
everywhere.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That's everywhere, though.
But yeah, but because of that, the Kabukicho area is kind of locked in to That's why there's like red light districts and whatnot in certain areas.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's locked in there. But then because of that, also there's certain types of businesses that can only go there. And so when you have something like that, you attract a very specific type of people that that kind of regulates that area.
I mean, honestly, yes. I think, but I also think like that's just almost everywhere, like especially
No,
for
for sure.
red light districts,
For
right?
sure.
It's,
So the
yeah.
way it works in Kabukicho apparently is, so there's like, as everyone basically knows, like the Yakuza operates, certain organizations operate in that region, right? Just because that's where they're able to do things.
Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of that crime out in the news and whatnot, unless it gets really bad.
Unless it, like that guy who got stabbed.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right, the other day, like over here somewhere. But like a lot of this crime doesn't come out into the news, even though it exists.
Oh yeah, like the thing is the police itself, and to be honest, like I don't know, like Japan has this very nice reputation, and rightfully so.
Japan's really good at marketing.
Right? but they're really good at marketing because they always show the good side. The other things just get buried.
Yep.
You know, I keep hitting stuff. The police themselves, like there are a lot of people, like especially in Shinjuku, generally, not just in Kabukicho, like in generally, that get scammed out of their money.
Yep.
Right? And then you go to the police and they tell you like we cannot interfere in individual what do you call that?
Yeah, whatever individual problems or
Individual problem, whatever. Like this is between you and the business owner. Like we
Right.
cannot interfere. It's a and I heard like some people get scammed out of $2,000, $3,000.
Yep.
You know, for bullshit reasons.
Right.
Like you cannot. Yeah, some of them like said like if a bottle of whatever like it's 2,000 or 3,000 and they have to pay it.
Yep.
It's
Do you know why?
yeah.
You do?
What do you mean? Because it's
So-
priced that way in
Right.
that establishment.
So this is, we did a seminar the other day at my work of like how contracts work
Yeah.
in Japan, from the perspective of like how does it work for freelancers. But so we had a lawyer come in and explain, you know, what you should and shouldn't do in contracts. But the way the contracts work in Japan is that any agreement is contractually binding, even if it's verbal.
even it's horrible.
Yeah. So if this is your and this is mine, and I say I will trade you this ketchup for that yellow mustard,
Uh-huh.
and then you agree.
Yeah.
If you don't give it to me, you are breaking the contract. You are breaking an agreement, a verbal agreement that is like legally bound.
Man, there are so many rules that are fucking. Hold up. Have you heard of this rule that you can actually sue a person for defamation?
Yep. You can do it in
Even
the US
if no, but this is the crazy part. Even if what they said is true.
Yep. You know why street photography is dangerous in Japan?
What?
Street photography?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is how I knew about this rule,
Yep.
right? And it's fucking insane. They could sue you for defamation,
Yep.
even though what you said is true.
Yep.
Like usually that's not defamation if what you're saying is actually true.
Yep.
That's I'm just saying what you did, or I'm
Right.
saying like this is what happened.
Yeah.
Man,
Protects, but yeah, it protects the people, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah. If you take a picture of someone and it goes, you know, it's used online or
Goes
whatever,
viral or
and
whatever,
someone
yeah.
sees like this person in the background that's not supposed to be there,
Yeah.
and
They
that person
can
is the
actually,
one,
yeah,
they can sue you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
This is why I
great.
kind of stopped taking pictures like of people in the streets.
Mhm.
When I started photography like 7-8 years ago, I used to take pictures of people like
Right.
and try to find these nice street shots.
Right.
But the more I read about it, the more I was like, I don't want to do
Yeah,
this.
it's not a. It's. I mean, it's,
And there was a guy on Instagram that just started attacking me. That was
Why?
2 or 3 months ago. He just started attacking me like, you think people in Japan are your toys or whatever, and like you can't. Honestly,
like, where do you live? I'll come there and shoot there then.
no, seriously, like it was stupid, you know. One of the comments on my pictures, like it was actually, even when I saw it after a few years, like I changed it. I deleted whatever I said. So I was trying to take a picture of an alley, right? And then there was this lady who was taking out the garbage. So I snapped a picture of her, and she looked like kind of, so she got surprised because I was, taking a picture. And my comment was like, "You thought that I wouldn't take that picture? How like I took it, like that, something like that, right?" And in hindsight, like I, that's a stupid comment, right?
Yeah.
And I deleted it, right? But that dude kept going after every picture, and just started attacking me in them. Which I fucking told him, like, dude, get a fucking grip or I'm fucking block you. Just shut up, like, what the hell's wrong with you? And he shut the fuck up after that. But yeah, first of all, the laws are not don't make a lot of sense, to be honest.
No, they're
Right?
like not entirely enforceable either, but
And
still,
not entirely enforceable, but it's just
but it's not a risk that like you're
yeah.
willing to.
I don't even want to do that anymore. Like, why would I do this?
Right,
Right? Like,
exactly.
it's just like whatever.
So, but yeah, so all contracts are legally binding, and so even if it's a illegal contract,
Yeah.
a lot of times it can still be, if you sign it, you've committed to it already. And that's the problem with scams and a lot of
Yeah.
these different agreements of like, oh, you say that.
That if you go and order whatever, like they can charge you whatever.
There's another thing where I don't know 100% how accurate it, like this. My understanding might have been wrong, but because I was reading into that like a few years back, and it's absurd to the point where if I take your camera and I go to this other guy and say, look, I'll give you this camera, and basically I just sell it right to someone. That sale agreement is fair.
Even though you kind of stole something that's not yours.
Right, because it's just like, I will give you this thing for that thing. Right, and so the agreement there, and if they agree, it's okay. I get the money, you get they get the camera, whatever, and you're out the camera, right? And I think from there it basically like
I have to deal with you.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
get
with me,
to,
not the other guy. The other guy has nothing. I mean, which is fair. They didn't know.
Honestly, yeah.
Right. But like it can also be like if I take your camera, I can give it away to someone because the agreement is I give this to you, you give me nothing in return. Right.
I don't know about these rules, man. Like,
so it's like it's very interesting how it all works. But you can where I'm like going off complete tangent now. You have to be careful with real estate, like when you're signing a lease, because there's a lot of things that landlords and real estate companies will put into the agreement that is borderline illegal.
Man,
if you sign it though, it becomes
legal.
You've signed the agreement.
But basically speaking, though, especially for foreigners, man, you can't read all of this. Even if you read, like, you can't understand what the fuck is written because it's in Japanese, right? And
that's a you problem, but yeah.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then that's a you problem. That's not.
Which I 100% agree with, but like.
But it's not supposed to be this way, right? Like in Arabic, we have a saying. The law doesn't protect stupid people. Really, like.
Right.
But that's when you're acting stupid, right? But when the contract is in a legal language that is completely different from yours. Like even in English, some contracts are, you would read it, but you won't understand what the hell does it say, right?
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to a completely different language and then you having to figure out what the hell is written, then there should be at least a little some protection that is given to you as someone who doesn't even know what the hell is written.
Right.
But then as soon as you sign that contract, like, it's over.
So, have you ever been part of a lawsuit?
Nope, luckily.
It's fun.
No, it's not. Why would it be fun?
What you learn from that is like, contracts are
Don't sign shit.
Well, contracts are written, no, not the contracts, sorry. Laws are written in a very specific way to make it so that
people can break them.
Well, so that it's not hard set on one side or another. It's so that there's flexibility, and they're like that on purpose apparently, so that like because there's always going to be like circumstances or like exclusion isn't the right word, but what is it? It's not always going to be
Exceptional
yeah,
circumstances.
exceptions. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so apparently they're written, at least in the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
they're written in a certain way that makes it a little bit vague, so that depending on the situation, it could go either way. So
Yeah.
it's great. Japan's kind of like that too. Because I read through all the employment laws because I had to for one of my jobs
Yeah.
in the past.
Mhm.
It's very, very similar to how the laws were written in the state of Massachusetts at the very least. But it's it could go either way. But for the most part, it's stronger towards the employees. So it's cool stuff. But you got to be careful with contracts because the way it says it in the laws is, if you agree, you have to
You're obliged to.
the final say comes down to what it says in the contract.
Well, obviously.
It says what the contract can and can't say
Yeah.
to a certain point, but it's like you have to agree. If you agree to whatever it says in the contract, you agree to whatever's in the contract. So it's like, okay.
Well, yeah. Anywho,
So, yeah,
yes, we've been all over the place.
All over the place.
This was nice.
What is this podcast about?
I don't know.
Anything. We just talk badly.
We started about coffee.
Started about coffee.
Now
Talked
we're
about creativity.
We're shitting about
Japan. Japan's a great place.
Laws,
Laws.
not Japan.
Japanese laws, Japanese contracts.